So, let's talk about something that's quietly gone from being a backroom IT issue to a front and center boardroom crisis: cybersecurity governance. You might be wondering, why the sudden urgency? Well, it's simple. The stakes have just never been higher. There's this quote that just nails the whole problem. It's this idea that defending your organization is a 24/7 job. You have to be perfect all the time. But the attacker, they just need to find one tiny crack, one single mistake to win. That's a ton of pressure, and it's exactly what's keeping business leaders up at night. And look, this isn't some abstract theoretical problem. For companies all over the globe, this is a real, unseen battle they're fighting every single day. And the consequences are very, very real. I mean, you see the headlines every single day, right? A breach isn't just a tech hiccup anymore. It's a full-on business catastrophe. We're talking about massive fines that can cripple a company, huge financial losses, and ransomware that can literally grind operations to a halt. And get this, sometimes the attack doesn't even come through your front door. It sneaks in through a trusted partner, like a weak link in your supply chain. The people behind these attacks, we often call them bad actors. They have one single-minded goal. They are constantly scanning and probing what's called your attack surface. Think of it as every possible digital window, door, or crack into your organization. Their job is to find just one of those that's unlocked and exploit it. So how on earth do you defend against a threat that's so persistent? Well, the answer isn't just about buying more tech. It's about a fundamental shift in thinking, a shift from treating this as an IT problem to seeing it for what it is, a core leadership strategy. And that's exactly where cybersecurity governance comes into play. At its core, cybersecurity governance is really about one thing: ownership. It's the playbook that the board and the top execs use to make the big calls, to decide who's accountable for what, and to manage this risk across the entire business. It's about leadership asking the tough questions from the very top. So, what are these all-important questions? Let's take a peek inside the playbook that every single board of directors should be using to build a defense that can actually stand up to these threats. First up, and you could argue this is the most fundamental question of all, are you following a plan, a real, globally accepted plan? Or are you just winging it, patching holes as they pop up? See, using a framework like the one from NIST in the US isn't just about kicking a box, it's about making sure your defense is truly complete, that you haven't left any obvious gaps. This is also where ideas like zero trust are so critical. A zero trust approach basically says we don't automatically trust anyone or anything, inside or outside our network. You have to verify everything, constantly. And in a world of remote work where that old idea of a safe office network is long gone, this is absolutely essential. Okay, on to the next critical question. What are you actually trying to protect? Let's be honest, you can't protect every single file with the same level of intensity. You have to know what your crown jewels are. And this is so important because critical assets means something totally different depending on your business. For a manufacturer, it's their secret designs. For a retailer, it's all that customer data. The main takeaway here is that you absolutely have to prioritize. Figure out what matters most and build your strongest walls around that. Okay, so you've got your framework, you know what your crown jewels are. Now what? Well, how are you actively looking for your own weak spots before the bad guys find them for you? And you really have to attack this from two angles. You need external assessments. That's where you hire someone to basically try and hack you from the outside. But you also have to look inward. Internal assessments hunt for risks created by things like sloppy coding, bad configurations, or even just simple, honest human error. All right, once you've asked those hard questions and you have the answers, you've basically got a map. So now the question becomes, where do you invest your limited time, money, and talent to make the biggest impact? A smart investment strategy isn't just about buying the flashiest new software. It's about creating a balanced portfolio. It means having clear, documented plans so that when a crisis hits, people know exactly what to do. It means using new AI tools that can spot threats a human might miss. And this is a big one. It's about people. There's a global war for talent happening right now because tech is just changing so fast. There's a huge skills shortage. So investing in your team or bringing in experts is absolutely non-negotiable. Now, I want to introduce you to a term that, honestly, should send a shiver down any executive's spine: dwell time. This is that terrifyingly quiet period between an attacker getting in and you finally realizing they're there. Your goal, always, is to shrink this number down to 0. Just let that number hang in the air for a second. 33 days. That was the median time that attackers were just roaming around inside networks in the Asia-Pacific region last year. Can you imagine an intruder living in your house, undiscovered for over a month? That is the reality that businesses are facing. And that horrifying number brings us to a really crucial realization. You can't just be in the business of building walls. You have to operate with the mindset that a breach isn't a matter of if, but when. And you have to be ready for that moment with what the experts call a push-button-ready response. You see, a top-tier response team isn't just sitting around waiting for an alarm to go off. They're proactive, constantly gathering intelligence. When something does happen, a dedicated team with a clear plan snaps into action to contain the damage. But honestly, the most important step might be the last one. They test and drill and refine their procedures over and over again. Because let's face it, you don't want to be fumbling with the fire extinguisher instructions when your kitchen is already in flames. So if dwell time is about how long they're hiding, contain time is all about how fast you can kick them out. This is the real performance metric for your response plan. From the second you discover them to the moment the threat is neutralized, how fast can you move? Every single minute matters. It really all boils down to that classic piece of advice, doesn't it? Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. That is the absolute essence of what good cybersecurity risk management is all about. You build the best defenses possible, you hope you never need them, but you are relentlessly prepared for the day that you do. We started this whole conversation with that sobering idea that an attacker only has to get lucky once. So I'll leave you with this question, the one every leader needs to ask themselves. On your organization's one unlucky day, will you be ready?